STEM students? Well, unfortunately, due to these unprecedented times and the spread of the coronavirus, it's going to make things kind of hard to do hands-on projects in my class. However, that's not going to stop us. We were going to make this mousetrap car right here, right? And it's got wood. We were going to cut it out, fabricate it. It was going to be awesome. We're going to make a new version today out of mostly paper so you can do it at home. There's a couple other little supplies we need, right? First of all, I got my hand sanitizer on standby. Okay, we're going to need, hopefully you get a hold of a hot glue gun. If not, we can use Elmer's glue and we can use tape, okay? I want to see if you can get your hands on a mouse trap, okay? And I've been using these for a while. They can be a little bit dangerous, but we're using them for a focus, not to snap them, because you can get hurt. See if you can find some tape. I'm going to use duct tape, but any tape will work. See if you can find some string. Do you have any dowels laying around? Do you have any barbecue skewers? Do you have any pencils? Okay, we're going to go full engineering mode and design an awesome, very inexpensive mousetrap car. Stand by. Frame. Now, usually the frame, the chassis of your mousetrap car, usually make it out of paint sticks. I've seen people make it out of cardboard. We're going to make it out of paper because I know you guys got some paper at home. All right, so watch what I'm going to have you guys do. Have your pencil ready. Hopefully you have some cylinders. I got some dowels. I got different size ones, right? See what you can find around your house. What I did is I made a couple of these paper cylinders. So what I did is I just took my dowel. I took a piece of paper, right? I got a stack next to me on standby, ready to go. And basically what I did, I just like how we made our compressed air rockets, I just rolled it, right? Put it on the side. You might want to have your brother, sister, parents pull this side, and then you can roll it really tight, and then use your hot glue gun to seal it, and you should have something that looks like this. I made 2 of these, and then what I did is I took a pencil, and I made a bunch of smaller ones. Now, the smaller it is when you roll paper, the stronger it is. And we want strength in this situation. So why don't you go ahead and make 2 bigger ones, and why don't you make 6 to 8. Now remember, when we build our frame, we're gonna try to put the mousetrap on the top. We're gonna have this lever arm coming off right here, right? So if we don't have a strong frame, it's not gonna work. So when I made my 2 paper cylinders from this larger size dowel, I noticed they weren't super strong. It was kind of bending. So what I did is I took another dowel, which was a little smaller, rolled some pieces on that, and I noticed, well, that was stronger. And then I thought to myself, what if I place these inside the larger ones? It would be even stronger. Strong is good. So what I'm going to do in this situation, I'm going to try to insert this little paper cylinder into the bigger one. We could brute force it, but we don't want to break it. So hey, let's try what happens. Engineers, we solve problems as they arise. So I'm going to just put a little hot glue on here, not too much, right? And I'm going to try to get this to insert in here. Ooh, perfect, right? Goes like that. And then I'm going to take the other one. Hey, it might not work as smooth. Just put a couple little drips right there. If you got Elmer's glue, that can work. Tape, we're gonna make it happen at all costs. Now it looks like I'm having, oh, there we go, it goes in there. This one's a little tighter, so I might have to pound the other cylinder into this one. Was a little bit tricky. I turned the camera off. I took some pencils, stuck them in there. I got it in, so it's extra reinforced, but it wasn't as simple as the other one. But hey, I got it done. Now take your 2 pieces. They should be strong, right? Right? You're just putting a little pressure there. And you're going to kind of line them up, maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches apart. And we're going to take our smaller pieces. Let's take 2 of them, and we're going to hot glue them to the top. And this is where our mousetrap car is going to go. So I'm just going to put a little, here, we'll put a little glue on the top here. Actually, a pretty good sized puddle, because we don't want this to move. All right, I'm going to glue that on there. right? And then I'm gonna take my other one and I'm gonna glue it behind it, maybe like an inch or two. Pretty good sized glue drops here. All right, good, right? Let that dry. And now I'm gonna put one on the bottom. Well, because we're gonna have an axle going through here. So let's put it up where my finger is, about right here, a little bit less than halfway. We're gonna put our third one. Now you can put more if you want. The more you have, the stronger it's gonna get. So I might actually add a couple more. So I got another piece right here. I'm actually gonna add another one. This paper's light, so it's not gonna weigh it down. There. All right. So you should have something that looks like this. All right. Pause the video if you need to. All right. Onto the wheels. So we're going to have to kind of think outside the box here. What do you have around your house that's circular? Well, you got the old DVDs laying around. Some people call them compact discs. I mean, if it's a movie and you still watch it, don't, destroy it. How about maybe some plates, right? I don't know. What else do you have in your house that's circular? Maybe some Gatorade caps, right? Anything circular you can use for your wheels. So I'm going to use the CDs. I like how they work, right? And what we're going to do, I took some pieces of cardboard. I didn't put this down in my materials, but cardboard can help. So if you have a spare sheet of cardboard around, cut some little squares, okay? Now what I did is I took this cardboard and I glued it onto the inner portion of the CD. So I'll go ahead and do one right here. Just take the CD, you got your cardboard, and I'm just gonna put some glue just a little bit on the outside here, and I'm just gonna put this down, all right? Now, you can also put one on the other side too. This is important, right? I'm just gonna go for one right now. And then what I'm gonna do is my axle is gonna be these little barbecue skewers, right? You could use a pencil, you could use something, the dowel, right? You can use a metal rod. But we want this, if you look, to go through the cardboard, right? So the cardboard's gonna kind of hold it onto the wheel. Otherwise, you got that circle and it's just gonna jingle around, right? So we got to poke a little hole in the cardboard. I'm looking around, could use a drill. I just found this little Allen key, this little hex wrench right here. I'm going to try to poke a hole through here. Now, you want to do this when the glue's dry. All right, so I'm just going to kind of put my fingers here and kind of use your table a little bit to poke a hole. So it's not easy. I didn't get it on the first go. All right, see how that went through like that? Then I'm going to kind of make it a little bit bigger, because this hole needs to be a little bit smaller than the diameter of your barbecue skewer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in, right? I'm gonna insert it, just like that, you see that? Now we want this straight, like we don't want it crooked. Mine's a little crooked, so to get it straight, I'm gonna put a little hot glue on the barbecue skewer, and then I'm gonna hold it, and I'm going to try to get that to go straight, because if it's not straight, our mousetrap car is going to turn. So it's still kind of wobbly, so I'm going to put a little bit on the other side, right? Actually, that was more than a little. And I'm going to try to get that to be straight. This is our alignment. So I'm going to hold that right there. Note to self, hot glue is hot. You might want to use safety gloves. All right, so that's looking pretty straight right there. All right. All right, so this part's tricky because I inserted the axle through one of our little paper cylinders like this, right? And notice I cut off with my scissors, the big boy scissors, that extra barbecue skewer that was sticking out. You don't need to do that if you don't want, but it kind of gets in the way because I inserted it, right? And now I can set it on its side. And I'm gonna use this little duct tape roll just so I can kind of work with it and get my other wheel on, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to position it first. And this is not easy because you want to break the skewer. See this extra part right here? I might cut that off later. So I'm going to bring this down. Okay, now when you have a spot you like, get some hot glue on here. Remember, we kind of did it to both sides, right? So this gets a little tricky because you don't have as much room. And then I'm going to try to get this straight. I'm going to hold it for a little bit. All right. You can have a gap on each side. That gap can be much bigger, okay? It doesn't matter. I'm holding it, I'm holding it, I'm holding it. All right. So your job is what we did right here. You're going to do it to the front, right? And what I'm going to do is cut this little dowel off over here. All right. Now we're getting serious. All right. So I went ahead and put the wheels on the front. Make sure that, and I cut the sides of the barbecue skewer off. You don't need to do that. See if it spins. Your wheel's spinning, right? Go on the ground, see if it rolls. And you don't want to get hot glue. Don't get hot glue in the pieces of paper, the cylinders. It won't work. Now, what I noticed in the back is, what I did is we need this axle right here exposed. Okay, so I just cut with my big boy scissors here, and I cut here so I can have a gap, because that's where we're going to attach the string. So what we're going to do right now, you got your string ready, right? You can use fishing line, you could use yarn, right? Think outside the box. What we're going to do, I'm just going to cut a piece here. Oh, and by the way, the shorter your lever arm, the more torque, the more acceleration you're going to have, right? The longer it is, right, it's going to go slower, but your distance should increase. But if it's too long, you're not going to have enough acceleration and it won't go. So how would you make this longer? Well, take a pencil, zip tie it on, right, tape it on, grab another dowel. I've seen people with lever arms this long, right? I've seen super tiny little lever arms. So get ready to experiment with that. See the back right here? We're going to put a zip tie right there, because that's where we're going to attach the string with a little loop. So when we put this zip tie here, we're going to zip tie it on, and we're going to have a little hot glue so it doesn't move. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I got my zip ties on standby. Now what I'm going to do is when I put this on, now carefully, you don't want to mess up your wheels. This is where it gets tricky, because we align them, right? Put this on. Oh, see, it slipped out right there. It's not an easy task. All right. Now, before I tighten it down, you guys see that right there? Before I tighten that, I need a little hot glue on there, right in the middle. Make sure your wheels are straight. All right, a little drop. I got to go quick right here. Okay, I'm going to come back over here. And I'm going to tighten this up onto the hot glue. All right, we need that tighter. We need that tighter. See if I can do it. Ah, yeah. Sometimes pliers like this will come in handy. Oh yeah, that did the extra trick there. So it's tight. And then what we're going to do, we don't want this big piece sticking out right here. We just want like a couple millimeters so we can attach our string with a loop on it. So do you guys see that right there? I'm going to say, I don't know, how far is that? 6 or 7 millimeters, 1/4 of an inch. We're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut a little piece. That's pretty good right there. Let's take a look at it. Let's get a zoom angle. So it looks like this. You guys see that? That zip tie, when you move it like this, your whole axle needs to move. Make sure it doesn't hit this piece of paper right here. You can make it a little shorter if you want. All right. Now let's talk about the string here. Make sure you have enough to go from the top of your lever arm, right, down to the rear axle where the zip tie is, right? Okay. This is critical right here. So I'm gonna cut a longer piece so it's ready to go. I'm gonna tie my loop first. Now you could just have a loop like this, and I don't know, you can hot glue it, tape it. I like to use a polymer knot. I don't know if you guys want to do that. I'm gonna go like this. It's an old school fishing knot. I'm just gonna go like this, right? It's called a polymer knot. Take my fingers, you got the loop. See my little finger? I'm gonna go under, over, and then I'm gonna just kind of pull it like this, like that. And this little extra part, we don't want this getting tangled with our project, so I'm gonna cut that little piece out with my pliers. Actually, the scissors might work better for this. Big boy scissors, I almost got it. Boom, okay. So I got a loop like this, and then this is tricky, but we want the loop to line up with the zip tie, right? Maybe just a little in front of it, right? We don't want any slack. And then we're gonna take the other part and we're gonna attach it to the top. How are we gonna attach it? Well, I've seen people cut some slits with a saw. I've seen people drill a hole. I've seen people attach an eye hook. Hey, I'm gonna use some duct tape right now, okay? I'm just gonna duct tape that on there. It's not going anywhere once I put this duct tape on. That is a fact. And then I'm gonna have this excess right here. Don't need that. So when your string comes down, if you look, it should be hanging just a little bit above that zip tie. Now for the fun part, the testing phase. Now if you look, we're getting ready to test it. I attached the loop to the zip tie. You might have someone help you kind of lift the lever up a little bit and kind of help you. This is maybe a two-person job. I did it by myself. And I'm slowly gonna wind it around the axle. Now you can just kind of, if you want a little shortcut, you can just kind of roll it like this and move your stuff out of the way. All right. And we're trying to get that string wrapped around the axle. All right. So I'm gonna try to just keep doing that here. I'm gonna go a little bit over here. Going. I'm trying to keep it in the middle. If you guys look, I don't want the string, I don't want it on the sides if I can help it because it's gonna get caught. So I'm gonna go a little bit further, then I'm gonna test it. All right, Mr. H is about to do my first test of the first ever paper mousetrap vehicle. Now, before you go and do it, you want to find a flat surface. I'm using my classroom. You can go outside in the cement. You got to watch out for cracks, right? Okay, so what we're going to do. All right, so I'm about to do my first test here. My goal is 30 feet. I'm going to see what I'm doing. I'm holding this right here so it doesn't go. See on the side like that? Pull it back a little bit more. Notice the string is in the middle, but over here, see how it's kind of close to the side? That's kind of concerning me. And that zip tie, maybe I have to go shorter. This is just my first test run. Let's see how it does. In 3, 2, 1, launch. Stand by. And it looks like I'm gonna need another room, a bigger room. All right, so we're gonna test it outside because my classroom can't contain it. I cut my zip tie a little shorter and I'm gonna go this test run, see what we can do, and I'm gonna make some modifications. Make sure your lever arm is all the way back for maximum results. All right. Got some water puddles. Make sure the wheels are straight. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. There we go. It's off. Oh, it's gonna hit a weed. It's gonna hit a weed. It should coast a little bit right there. That is good. Now see that crack right there slowing it down. So my next step is, I think I'm gonna lengthen the lever arm and increase the wheel size and see what happens. So I made a couple modifications to improve my design. If you look, I extended my lever arm. Zip ties weren't holding, so I put a little duct tape on there. See, it's extended. I also increased my wheel size. So let's see what happens. It is starting to rain. And put this right here. See what happens. So the paper plates. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, it is going a little bit slower, I noticed. But the distance is improving. And it's still